All right, here we go. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Tailgate, episode 6, live here, on the Grid Network YouTube channel and X account. I am Bryson Carver. I am joined by my good friends Tim Barnard and Arthur Hurst. I'm not going to lie, fellas. I'm as excited about this episode as a number, not just because we have a lot to talk about, not just because October is the best month in the sports calendar, but Tennessee, Alabama, third Saturday in October. I can't wait. Talk about that in the Vol View and predictions. But Tim, how are you doing today, buddy? Your mic's muted.
You tell me to mute the mic, and then all this happens. Come on now. That's your fault, Bryson.
Hey, take accountability of the show, Tim. Come on, what are we doing? It's all good.
Hey, it's Saturday, October 18th. A lot of rumors flying around that Billy's done, and we have a talented team that is just poorly coached. It sucks. We've been waiting all year for this extremely talented team, and we suck. So,
we were joking beforehand. I think we've got the technical difficulties, fixed with anytime we do Gator City late in the show and there's just a white screen, we're trying to get you on there. It's been kind of a metaphor for the Florida Gators season. It's been important. Listen, I may hate the Gators, but I don't want to see you suffer, Tim. So it's been hard to watch.
It's fun when the Gators are good. Let's be honest.
It's better for college football. I can admit that. I agree with you. Arthur Hurst, speaking of, it's good when Ohio State is good. Defending national champions, undefeated. Your team's rolling. They got a game against Wisconsin today. How you doing, Arthur?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for this 3:30 game. Get out here and drink a little bit, get something to eat. And it's going to be very nice, especially like after. I'll see if I'm going to watch some more college football tonight, but I'm going to take a nice nap after we win today.
You know what? I respect it. I respect it. Don't miss too much of Tennessee and Alabama, though, because I'm going to be very active on social media and very active in the group chat one way or the other. All right, let's get into topics. So this is – I can't believe I'm saying this. This is the third week we're leading our show with James Franklin. I can assure you it's the final time we'll be doing it because he was fired by Penn State after their devastating loss to Northwestern. 3 straight losses. Penn State is 0-3 in the Big Ten. This is kind of a two-part question, so I'll start with the first one. I'll ask you first, Tim. Are you surprised James Franklin was fired by Penn State midseason? Because we had talked about last week, could they move on from after the season? They decided to move on from after that loss to Northwestern. Are you surprised by it?
So we talked on the show about Mike Gundy getting fired at Oklahoma State, and my big thing about that was loyalty. Something that Mike Gundy had been a part of that program for 30 years, give or take. James Franklin, he's been with Penn State for quite some time. He's been there for a while. But they did the right thing by firing him midseason. I mean, that was an absolute joke. He put all his chips on the table versus Oregon. They had Drew Aller just not stare down his receiver. That overtime could have kept going. And then he follows it up with losses to UCLA and then Northwestern. I mean, the only thing that could have made that worse was if he lost to friggin' Rutgers. Like, yes, fire him. Bye. See ya. The whole question about him was he can beat up on the bad teams. You just can't beat the good teams. Now what? Now you threw all your chips on the table this final year, or, it ended up being final year, but you threw your chips on the table this year, and that was it? You blew it? You blew your stack? You're like, all right, hey, I'm done. I suck. I guess I can't get the job done. And then his team takes that mentality into UCLA in Northwestern. I mean, what a joke. Yeah, he absolutely deserved to get fired. That was, I mean, I think we were all shocked. But then when we sat and thought about it, we're like, yeah, makes sense.
When you can lose games, you can't lose the locker room. And I feel like after that loss to Northwestern, I kind of have a rule that this is more of an NFL thing than a college football thing. But if you lose 3 games in a row, I can't consider you a contender because you lose games, no one's going to go undefeated. You lose a game, then you lose another one. Okay, it's kind of a slump. You need to get that next one and you still lose unless there's any catastrophic injuries. Then I can't necessarily take you seriously as a contender. And I think, like you said, Tim, based on the expectations Penn State had, national championship aspirations, went to the college football playoff semifinal a year ago, Big Ten championship aspirations, and now that kind of goes up in smoke. I'll ask you, Arthur, you're the Ohio State fan, Big Ten guy. Were you surprised they moved on from James Franklin after this third straight loss? They obviously fall to 0-3 in the Big Ten. Are you surprised they moved on from a midseason?
I knew that Tim was going to bring up Mike Gundy, and that was the first thing I was thinking. Honestly, I'm being so serious. It was the first thing that I thought in my mind, especially yesterday after my take yesterday. I was like, "Dang, Mike Gundy is going to come up at some point tomorrow." I know he is if we talk about this, but listen, man, when you let UCLA, who has not led at all before they played you, right? And now they're 2-4 on the season. When you're the first win, and now with UCLA's second win, and then you have these little people throughout college football talking about, oh, is UCLA, looking to make a run the rest of the season? That's how you know it's like, hey, hang on a second. Like, we started that. We were James, you started that, dog. Like, what's wrong with you? Nah, you gotta go. You gotta go. And it wasn't going to get any easier throughout the rest of the year because, again, you lose to Oregon, you lose to UCLA, you lose to Northwestern. With how the season was going, you for daggone sure was going to lose to us. Like, you were not going to beat the Ohio State Buckeyes, and that definitely would have been the final straw if they decided to keep you on. It is very unfortunate because, as I said yesterday, he's able to recruit every position except the quarterback. Tim has brought this up previously, and I said in defense, Trace McSorley wasn't bad, but Drew Aller isn't getting the job done. Your quarterback before and after Trace McSorley didn't get the job done. But you've had Saquon Barkley, you've had Jahad Johnson, you've had Micah Parsons, you've had plenty of talent. But again, when it just comes to these big games, you can't get it done. And sometimes you have coaches like that, where you have all the talent in the world, you just can't get it done. And I hate to, bring up Tim's Florida Gators, but look at Florida. A great, talented Florida Gators team whose coach just can't seem to get it done.
Meanwhile, every school we play, we're that talented.
So I mean, like, you just have those coaches, right, where they're good enough, but not great. They're not elite. They don't deserve to be in those upper echelon of coaches. You hope and you give them grace that they will be, that they could be, and you give them all the chances in the world. But they just continue to let you down when they should not be letting you down, when they don't need to be letting you down. So it's not surprising. It isn't surprising. As Tim said with Mike Gundy, he's loyal. They don't finish out the season. But again, when you let UCLA do what they did and you let Oregon do what they did, and it just seems like, it's not going to get any better, you got to let them go.
And the thing with Oklahoma State, it's kind of apples to oranges because Oklahoma State has been bad for multiple years now. Penn State has obviously been a Big Ten contender for a long time. James Franklin, led them to a Big Ten title back in 2016. I think I and a lot of people thought they should have made the playoff that year. They did make the playoff last year, went deep. And it's again, I feel like you cannot lose the 3 games that they lost in a row consecutively, the way that they lost it, and still maintain credibility in the locker room. You just can't, especially now Drew Aller, God bless him, is done for the season. We're all praying for his quick recovery. So I'll ask you now, Tim, because now the discussion is, okay, who's going to be Penn State's next coach? And naturally, right after James Franklin news broke, hey, it's going to be Curt Cignetti, maybe for the coach from Indiana, and we'll talk about him later on, on today's show. And then he signs a long-term extension with Indiana. There's been names like Saban, Urban Meyer, former Gators coach, obviously. Who would you suggest Penn State go after? Who do you think that they will hire to be the next head coach of the Nittany Lions?
That's a great question. I think that what Penn State should do is they need to go after a young offensive mind. I don't think Urban Meyer is going to come back. I don't think Nick Saban's going to come back. I mean, just watching College game day before we even hopped on here, you had Miss Terry say that Nick ain't coming back, basically. And so it's I think what Penn State needs to do, because even though Penn State's teams have always been structured defensively, they've always been a defensive first, their famous number 11 is basically for a defensive player who's a stud, LeVar Arrington, Micah Parsons, so on and so forth. They need a young offensive mind to come in and change their offense. That is the one thing Penn State has always lacked. Every time they got into a big game or a big game situation, they needed that drive to go and win the game. Could you ever really trust their quarterback to do it? Because I never could. And if they did it, it was like, oh, okay, nice. But I would still leave that game saying, I don't like their quarterback. And listen, I think Drew Aller, is a good kid. I feel bad. Again, prayers up for him, and he makes a quick recovery, and he can get back to playing football again. But it was one of those things that I always thought that the quarterback position was weak on Penn State. Arthur, you brought it up. Old Trace McSorley. I never trusted Trace McSorley. So, yeah, I think it's a situation that I can't pinpoint an exact coach, but I think that they need to go after a young offensive mind to change things up.
We're kind of on the same wavelength. I'll say my take of who the coach should be after Arthur finishes. But Arthur, we kind of talked about this yesterday. You weren't carving it up, and you were, we were kind of speculating, would Urban Meyer maybe come back to the Big Ten? And Nick Saban, as Tim mentioned, is there a name you have in mind that could potentially be the new head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions in 2026?
Well, as you said yesterday, as you said just now, you'll get your pick. So I'm not going to say it, right? But we are on the same wavelength. So to echo though what Tim said, dude, when you talk about game-winning drives, right? I always think about this, well, not always, but this play comes to my mind quite frequently when it comes to Ohio State Buckeyes and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Christian Hackenberg, this was a few years ago. Christian Hackenberg, Penn State quarterback, right? They have a chance to either win the game or tie against us. I'm pretty sure it was at Penn State. And Joey Bosa comes off the right side, right? It was the last play. It was the do or die play for Penn State. Joey Bosa comes off the right side, and Saquon Barkley's trying to guard him, right? This was when Joey Bosa was Joey freaking Bosa. And Joey Bosa just pushes Saquon right into Hackenberg and gets the sack. That's just one of those things where it's like, holy shit, right? Like, it's just one of those plays where it's just etched in my memory. Like that's Ohio State football right there. But that also, again, that's been Penn State football, to where we're so close, but yet we're just so freaking far. So again, Bryson, I'm gonna let you give the head coach take, because I agree with it. But I also agree with Tim. They definitely need an offensive mind who can definitely recruit the quarterback position. And Bryson, you and I agree that coach should be who?
Joe Brady, offensive coordinator from the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, he has a history at LSU, passing game coordinator, helped Joe Burrow have arguably the greatest season in college football history. I mean, the Buffalo Bills were kind of they didn't really have an offensive identity after Brian Dable left to be the head coach of the Giants. They fired their OC, Ken Dorsey. Then here comes Joe Brady. Now they run the football well. Now their offensive line's playing well. Now Josh Allen's playing the best ball of his career. I think Joe Brady, we talk about young offensive minds. There you go. He's got a college background. Was successful at LSU. He's never been a head coach, certainly at this level before. I think it'd work.
Can I also, so it's funny you say that, because watching the Bills-Pats game, Sunday Night Football, they even mentioned, I think it was the broadcast, it was either broadcast or Boston radio, whatever. Terry Pagula has a history with Penn State. And okay. I heard
owner of the Bills, by the way, yeah.
Yeah, the owner of the Bills, that he was the one who was like, all right, we're done with Franklin. We got to get somebody else in there. And we'll approach that when it happens. But how perfect, if true, if Terry Pagula, is that guy, how great would that be? You have your offensive coordinator for your team, and then you could just basically say, hey, you want this job? It's right there. It's easy money.
That's an interesting nugget. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, but that's really interesting. Okay, let's talk about, I'm telling you, I think what we've learned in 2025 in college football is that Friday night trap game is a real thing. It really is. So Miami loses last night, number 2 ranked team in the country. We're going to give our rankings in about 15, 20 minutes or so. Miami's not going to be next week where they're at now for all three of us. Let's put it mildly. But they lose last night. Carson Beck throws not one, not two, not three, 4 interceptions against the Louisville Cardinals. I'll ask you this one first, Arthur. Does this dampen your expectations for Miami as it pertains to them being a national championship contender?
Hell no. No. But it's like you said, that Friday night game is a trap game. Easily. They're probably already looking forward to Friday night, and they're looking forward to all day Saturday. Right? It's just one of those things like it's the weekend, right? We're going to come in here. It's against Louisville. I mean, yeah, they're 4-1. Okay, cute. We're the Miami Hurricanes. We've been balling. I've been balling as Carson Beck. I can do no wrong so far this season. We'll be okay. And then you go and just throw out 4 picks to not your teammates, to the other team, right? You threw that ball very well for the other team. You might as well have been their quarterback and help them out a little bit more to get the W. But nah, man, Miami, every school, every team has at least one game like this every year. I can't remember the last time, well, except Oregon during the regular season last year. But every really great, good team up there has at least one game like this every single season. Ohio State has it every single, and it bugs me out because like we lose this game. Are you kidding me? Like it's not the Michigan game. Like the Michigan, well, yeah, it's that Michigan game, but it's a game like prior to that. Like if we were to play Iowa and we lose to Iowa, or that year that we lost to Penn State on a field goal block kick and they take it for the touchdown. I was like, we lose this game? Really? Us? So I'm not putting too much on it, right? But I do expect them to bounce back. They're a really good coach team. They're a really great talented team. They get the job done. You've seen the results all year. They're going to be fine. I just point this to, like you said, Friday night trap game, and great teams have at least one game like this every single year.
And I don't even want to take any credit away from Louisville because Louisville was a team a couple weeks ago I considered putting in my top 25. I actually picked them to beat Virginia recently on this show. Louisville's a good team. But, to go on the road in Miami and just, completely outplay the Hurricanes. Are you as optimistic, Tim? Obviously, I'll go and pull up this comment from Patrick Brown because this is fitting. He's a big Florida State guy. Happy Saturday, fellas. Hey, Miami, turn that U into a fresh hot L. Seminoles and Gators fans can agree to that one for the most part. Are you as optimistic about Miami's national championship expectations as Arthur is, Tim?
I hate to say it, but of course I am.
Okay.
This is the beauty about college football now, is that one loss does not kill you. And if you wanted to lose, wanted being the operative word, but if you were going to lose during the BCS era, which we all know and love, at least I do, you had to lose early in the season. If you lost in the championship game, if you lost late in the season, it screwed you completely. But now with a 12-team playoff, something that I've been calling for a while, and instead of 12, my thought was 8, but that's a whole other conversation. One loss doesn't kill you. 2 losses doesn't kill you. So as great as it is to be perfect, as, monumental for your program, for your team, that it would be, as monumental as it is for you to be perfect, it's okay. Especially if you lose to the right teams in the right situation. Louisville, like you said, Bryson, we're almost on your top 25. And just as a quick side note, Miami had won 10 straight home games prior to last night. Do you guys know who their last loss was and when?
Was it Louisville?
It was Louisville in 2023.
Okay.
So Miami's been rocking, which Hard Rock Stadium's not been rocking, but
no, not at all.
Let's be honest. That stadium's like half empty at least. But needless to say, I'm not concerned. Now, if they pull a Penn State and just absolutely nosedive, then we have a whole different conversation. But Miami, again, is still the better ACC team. Florida State needs to get their act together if they're going to be in it. Clemson, do I have hope for them? I mean, it's basically what, ACC-wise, Georgia Tech and Miami right now. So there are some situations, but it's the ACC. I really, whatever.
Yeah, no one cares about the ACC. It's as our friend Barry Grant Jr. would say, it's rubbish. No, the fact of the matter is this, and you both bring up a good point. Like, you can lose early. Heck, you can be Ohio State and lose one of the most shocking games of last year, 13-10 to Michigan, and we're like, oh my gosh, the sky's falling. They go on to win the national championship because your resume prior to that was, it said that you should be in the playoff, and you took advantage of that. My concern, I still absolutely believe Miami's a contender, just for the fact of the matter is they're clearly the best team in the ACC. They should win the ACC this year. Therefore, they'll get a high seed, in the college football playoff. My question is this Carson Beck in big games? Are we going to see it? Because we saw it multiple times at Georgia. Lane Kiffin, I sent y'all a clip when he was on the Pivot podcast earlier this year, where he was like, he makes $4.3 million. Did they watch his game against Ole Miss last year? Which that was hilarious. Lane Kiffin is brutally honest, and I'm here for it. But that's my main concern is which Carson Beck are we going to see in big games? I like Miami's defense generally. They were just put in bad spots last night. So we'll see what happens. Okay, speaking of teams that are contenders, we'll discuss it. Curt Cignetti, long-term extension, $93 million with the Indiana Hoosiers. Big-time upset last week against Oregon. I'll ask you, Tim, and I can't believe I'm asking this question. Are the Indiana Hoosiers a national championship contender?
In 2025?
Yes.
Yes. No. I was answering your question by saying,
yeah.
Like,
I didn't mean to ruin your thunder there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. That was, again, massive win. I think you guys both know I disrespected Indiana going into that game last week. I was like, nope, I see the logo. Again, as much as I tried to get logo bias out of my top 25 rankings, I still have logo bias. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a real thing. So going into that game, of course, I was like, Oregon is just too good. Indiana is going to be Indiana. The proverbial pumpkin's going to, appear, blah, blah, blah. And then Curt Cignetti did something that I never thought Indiana could ever do. And they went into Alton Stadium and won. That was wild. If it was in Indiana, I would still give them a ton of credit, but I don't know how much more credit. The fact that they did it in Oregon, I think was huge. My problem is the fact that after this game, they rewarded him with an 8-year, $93 million deal. I'm sorry, but has Indiana not seen what has gone on in college football in terms of these buyouts? Indiana brought in Curt Cignetti in November of 23 on a 6-year deal. And after a year and a third, here you go. Here's a brand new 8-year deal because you're going to be here for a very long time. In what world? This is still Indiana. You really think you're going to get kids from the inner cities of Miami, Atlanta? You're going to go into Alabama and, get those guys. I mean, you're going to get the Northeast guys, no doubt about it. But it's still, you're in Indiana. You're having a great season. Good for you. But here's an idea for the AD, for the Board of Trustees at Indiana. Let him play out his contract. Holy crap. Because he signed a 6-year, $4.5 million deal in November 23. The buyout, God forbid, 3 years down the road, Indiana turns into the proverbial pumpkin. 3 years down the road, the buyout's going to be nothing. But 3 years from now, your buyout's going to be like $50 million. Yeah. Hello, McFly, figure it out. Don't be so stupid just because he wins a friggin' big game and they're undefeated. I get it. Cignetti won Coach of the Year last year. He went 11-1. He's undefeated right now, a top 5 team in the AP polls. Phenomenal. Good for him. That's great. He's a great coach. I'm not saying that he sucks. But with all the buyouts that are going on, James Franklin, they're going to have to figure that out. You got my Gators who are trying to, scrape together a crap ton of money for Billy Napier. I came on here last week or 2 weeks ago saying, honestly, the best thing you can do is rise through the ranks of being a coach, get a head coaching gig at a top program, and then suck. And then 2 years later, you have a massive buyout that is, family changing, generational changing. So the fact that Indiana went and rewarded him an 8-year, $93 million deal that keeps him there through 2033, I mean, people are just too effing stupid to figure that out.
All right. Do you agree? Excuse me. Do you agree, Arthur?
I do. This is what happens when you get caught up in the moment. When that deal dropped, I was like, oh shit, because it's the same thing as Tim. That buyout, if y'all, get off of this high within the next 3 years, is going to be very, very hefty. And that's going to be terrible. But the other thing about this too, with it being, 2025 in college football, you never know if Curt, if he continues to do this, who says he potentially won't leave? I don't think he will. I believe the culture he's established is set, and they are following his lead 110%. And it shows every single week out on that football field, right? And that's not a basketball school anymore. That has turned into a football school. But yeah, that buyout it's bad, right? I had a guy, one of my good boys last week, because he said James Franklin was going to get fired, and he said that boosters and everybody are going to have to go deep into their pocketbooks to get him out of that position, right? And Tim just brought it up. They're going to have to. Curt Cignetti with this contract, they're going to have to. Buyouts are going to have to be a number one thing when we're talking about extending coaches or giving coaches contracts. That has to be up there. And you have to think about everything. Listen, everybody wants to be an optimist, right? Everybody wants to say, oh, we're going to keep this thing going. We're going to be fine. There are going to be times where you're going to have your bad years, right? And you hope that those bad years are just 1 or 2, maybe 3 losses, not 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Not the old Indiana Hoosiers, right? You hope to ride this high throughout the rest of this contract. But again, you just have those years, or you have those times like with Penn State and James Franklin. You know what? We've been in purgatory a little too long. It's time for you to go. Curt Cignetti doesn't look like he looks like he's bringing them from hell, right? They're not going to purgatory. We trying to make it to the pearly gates. Okay, so follow my lead. I'm gonna get us to the freaking promised land. And so far, he's delivered. They're 6-0. They're playing very well on both sides of the ball. I believe he has turned into one of the upper echelon coaches of college football. You got him with Ryan Day. You got him with Dan Lanning. He has to win. He has to continue to win, and he's going to have to win the big games, right? And Oregon's a big game. Let's see what he does against Ohio State this season. I don't think it's going to happen, right? I'm not even gonna lie. I was worried about them last year because I just saw how they played. I'm like, damn, okay, they're playing very, very well. And then Ohio State woke up in that second half and then blew them out 38-15. I believe it's going to be the same thing this season. But it doesn't negate the fact that he, as Curt Cignetti as a head coach, has been coaching his ass off. His team has been balling. But yes, I do believe this contract is a bit premature. Next year, maybe, but definitely the year after that if they keep this thing going. But in his second season, like Tim said, dog, you jumping the gun a little bit. Because if y'all, and that's the biggest thing about organizations and stuff like that, these people expect way too much in very little time. I don't know when we became that. I guess because you've seen talents, just come in and make a difference immediately. True, you're right. You're right. You're definitely right. Social media has definitely played a part of that, but also the talent and what they've been able to do in such a short amount of time. I get it. But dog, sometimes you got to let these things build, right? It doesn't take a year and a half or 2 years to build something. He's built it for sure, but this is the foundation. Y'all have been asked for a long time. Let him continue to build the house. Rome wasn't built in one day. It took years of dominance and just letting people know, hey, we are now the empire to fear. Greece is gone. Persia is gone. We are the new kings of the world, of this realm. So it's us. Let Curt Cignetti continue build, not, okay, you beat Oregon in your second year, we're going to give you this. Nah, because now he has no choice to go out and perform. And then if he doesn't perform, we're looking at him about not performing. And we should be looking at y'all because y'all gave him this monumental contract in his second season. Again, happy for him, you know,
Absolutely.
but now you definitely need to get the results. And if you don't get the results, that buyout's going to be hefty.
I think it is. Go ahead.
Can I just say one more thing about this? Everyone loves to talk about when the new coach comes in and they start doing well, and especially you have the homers who, like the previous coach, make the case that, oh, well, they won with the previous guys. That's exactly what Curt Cignetti is currently doing. He's winning with the previous coach's players. I'm not trying to take away anything from Curt by saying that, but I've been on the hype train for Billy Napier saying, let him get his guys. Let him get his players. And then all of a sudden, he gets his players. They're ultra talented and nothing happens. So with Curt, again, a year and a half, you're not going to be able to figure it out. You don't know what you have. And even he signed a 6-year deal. I can't say that enough. So that's my only piece.
Here's why I'll defend Curt Cignetti in this sense, because you said he won with the previous coaches guys. They went 2-10 the year before he got there. Like, they were awful. They were, I mean, Arthur kind of hit on it. They were one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. And to your point, Tim, that you said earlier, they are Indiana. They're not a college football powerhouse. And for that reason, again, the Penn State news drops. Again, who knows? Maybe the Florida news will drop as soon as tomorrow or at some point this year or after the season is over. There is that internal sports insecurity that, oh man, he may leave us for the prettier girl, right? Like that's kind of the attitude that a program like Indiana has. We're trying to build our resume into one that, is one of the most respected, not just in the conference, but in college football. And I think, listen, Indiana is certainly a contender. To go back to the original question, Fernando Mendoza is playing outstanding football. He is absolutely in the Heisman discussion. We'll kind of get to that, I guess, in a couple of weeks once that conversation heats up. But he's been playing great ball. The Indiana offense has been rolling. But I think this had everything to do with the Penn State news, with the potential Florida news. Two big blue blood programs in college football. We don't want to let our guy go to those schools. And also, again, he's turned Indiana around in a minute. I mean, they go from 2-10 to the freaking playoff in year one, and then in year two, undefeated, top 3 team in the country, probably top 2 team in the country, next week. So yeah, I think that's where we're at with Indiana. Last question, then we'll go to Buckeyes Breakfast. We all picked Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry against Texas. I don't think any of us thought John Mateer was going to play, and then last second, he gives it a go with a thumb injury, 17 days after surgery, and Texas ends up winning 23-6. I'll ask you this question, Arthur. Listen, Texas obviously had gigantic expectations coming into the season. We certainly don't want to go too far after just one win against an excellent Oklahoma team. But are there college football playoff hopes back? Is it like, okay, here we go, Texas back in business, we can make the playoff?
John Mateer, dog, do you realize what you've done? We are now riding on a train of the Texas Longhorns possibly being back. Do you realize what you've done? Dude, they were fine. I get it. This is one of the best rivalries easily in college football. But, dog, your team was doing just fine without you. You got to put your pride aside, you got to put your ego aside, and you got to let your Oklahoma Sooners go let them do what they done. Because I believe they win that game if he doesn't play. Right? That was my whole thing of picking Oklahoma. He's not playing. They're still playing very well. He's going to continue to rest his injury. Okay, cool. Yes, Oklahoma. Texas doesn't look like Texas. Arch Manning doesn't look like Arch Manning. Again, he definitely does look like the nephew of Eli Payton, not the daggone son. I'm going to keep on saying that throughout the season. Texas, they're no what? Nah. Oklahoma's going to take care of business. John Mateer is going to continue to, get back and rehab and all that stuff. And Oklahoma will be fine. That was my whole mindset going into picking Oklahoma. If I knew that he was going to try to play, I would have picked Texas. Because, dude, in what world do you think you want to be able to throw the football well on your throwing hand 17 days after surgery? Let your backup continue to do what he's doing. And the fact that, again, now we're talking about the Longhorns being back in discussions that they have no business being at all. No. So no, I'm not finna ride this high with these delusional Texas Longhorn fans, these delusional mother effers saying that, nah, dude, because listen, I'm annoyed. I'm genuinely annoyed because y'all should have won that game. That was a give me, especially with how Arch Manning has been playing all season long. That was served up for you on a silver platter. Come on, man. And then you go and mess it up. You mess up the flow. We were cooking. And all because we decided to make this one change. And not only that, hey, coach, I'm looking at you too. You not free in this either. I'm looking at you because you supposed to be like, listen, get it. I understand. I respect it and I love it. Right? That's why you're our starting quarterback. But you're not our starting quarterback this way. If you don't sit your behind on that bench and let our guy do what he's been doing since you've been out. No. We're in a flow. You're going to continue to rehab. You're going to get healthy. And then once you're actually fit to get back on this field and help us win, you will get there. But you are not going to come over here and ruin this just because your pride and your ego want to say, I did this. No. Arch Manning has been cheeks all season. We can win this game. Heck, forget we can. We're winning this game. Our defense is going to go out here and do what they need to do, and we're going to win this game. Our offense is going to go out here and do what they need to do, and we're going to win this game. I'm sure nobody in that locker room felt that they would lose. But then you put John Mateer in, and then you continue to see him play throughout that game. And it's like, damn, we're really going to lose this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, man. Forget the Longhorns.
Listen, I'm not crap. Listen, I'm not exactly a college football athlete to the very least, but I've never broken my thumb. I have sprained my thumb, and that crap freaking hurts. Like you can't grip anything. You can't. And so, I'm kind of with you, and then I'll ask you, Tim, but I am 100% with you, Arthur, it's one thing. John Mateer, I don't even necessarily blame John Mateer. He's a competitor. He's a young guy. It's Red River rivalry. He wants to get out there and compete against Texas. This is what he's been dreaming about. Brent Venables, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you putting this kid out there? Like, I even watched the pregame interview with him and Holly Rowe, and he just looked amped, which I get it. It's one of the biggest rivals in college football, but he looked like jittery. Like, dude, like this is
because he knew he made the wrong decision. He knew that.
He threw 3 picks in the game against a good Texas defense. You can't put yourself in that position. Tim, do you agree?
No, I saw the sweat trickling down his cheek. To quote the notorious B.I.G. and Biggie Smalls, I saw it. I was like, oh, this is what it is? Oh, yeah. No. And he took a big old dump in the locker room before they ran out because he knew he had no business putting Mateer back out there. He knew that.
Oh, my God. Tim, what do you think?
I mean, we all said on the show, myself included, like, I want John Mateer in this game. Like, that was the thought. And we all understood that it sucks. Like, hey, he's not going to play because it's his throwing hand's thumb. Like, again, Bryson, you said you sprained. Imagine breaking it, and just trying to play 17 days. Insane. And like you said, again, he's a competitor. Of course, you have to be a competitor to play in this, style of game, in this game, period. But again, I was thinking the same thing. Brent, what are you doing? That should have been completely off the table. And I don't know what he was thinking because of the fact that, yes, it does allow now this effing question to get back into it. I've said from day one, and I didn't even have them in my top 25 again, Texas is wildly overrated. They were a fake top 10 they were a fake top 10 team last week or 2 weeks ago when they played Florida. I said there was a fake top 10 win for Florida, and they have just proven my point time after time. And then this game, now what? Now everyone's looking at me like, oh, I have to justify the fact that, I have kept Texas out of my top 25. No. Look at the way they've played. Yes, they've got a very good defense. But do you really think that a healthy John Mateer would have still thrown 3 interceptions to Texas?
No way.
No, he wouldn't have. And even his backup wouldn't have done that. And so there have been plenty of times, I think, since Brent Venables went to Oklahoma where he should have gotten his ass fired. I don't believe he should have gotten fired for this, but that line, he could not have scooted any closer to that line after Saturday's game, because that was just an absolute joke. Oklahoma should have won that going away, and so it's kind of like, great. Now not only Oklahoma loses, and John Mateer has to take the brunt of that off a broken thumb, returning 17 days later, but also now we have to listen to these obnoxious Texas fans scream at us, be like, see, we beat Oklahoma. We won the Red River rivalry. We're a top 25 team. No, you're not. Suck it up. Deal with it. Arch Manning sucks. He's going to come back next year. He's not going to be in the draft. All right? Like, this is, oh, God, it sucks. It sucks.
Jeez, I didn't realize you hated Texas that much. Gosh darn, I want to apologize on behalf of the Saturday Morning Tailgate for this insult to Texas fans. My gosh, Tim.
Hey, the fact that the SEC includes Texas, Oklahoma, like out west, come on. Southeastern Conference, get over it.
I mean, the college realignment is kind of putting the death knell to the regional aspect of it. But no, I tend to agree with both of you. I think Texas at least has new life. I mean, they've obviously got Kentucky this week. My mother actually just texted me and said that you're right, by the way, Tim. So she agrees with you. So listen, I mean, look. Arch has obviously built his confidence in this game. You saw him play with a little bit more free and was more accurate. We know he can move well. Listen, as a Vols fan, as a Peyton Manning, guy, obviously, I hope the kid figures it out. I do. I would love to see him be in the draft in 2026, because that means maybe he did figure out. Maybe he was able to get a roll on and maybe forget Texas's preseason national championship hopes. I don't think any of us thinks that there's any chance of that happening. It's just a matter of, whether he can continue to grow and develop, because he's better now than he was against Ohio State. And that's the big thing. You want to see him continue to grow and develop with Sark. So we'll see how that plays itself out. All right. Great stuff, guys. It is now time for our segment to talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. It is time for Buckeyes Breakfast with our good friend Arthur Hurst. Arthur, take it away.
What's going on Saturday Morning Tailgate? It's your guy, Arthur Hurst with Buckeyes Breakfast. And my Ohio State Buckeyes are going against the Wisconsin Badgers. We have a little bit of history. We have a lot of history with this team. Right. One of my favorite memories is Ohio State playing Wisconsin. It's a battle between Braxton Miller and Russell Wilson. And they're going back and forth in this game. And man, just when Wisconsin goes up, and it seems like the game is over, you've got Braxton Miller rolling right. He throws a deep bomb to, I believe that was Philly Brown. And Philly Brown just backpedaling, catches it, game-winning touchdown. The game is over. But we also have history in this game because the current Wisconsin Badgers head coach is Luke Fickell. And if you know Luke Fickell, you know he played for the Buckeyes from 93 to 96. You also know that during his 16 years on the coaching staff, one of them was as a head coach before we got Urban Meyer. But, man, I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Fickell, man. You get a really good job in Cincinnati after you leave Ohio State. And after he left Cincinnati for Wisconsin, I just said, dang, man, I just hope it goes well for him, because Cincinnati's rolling, right? And they're rolling this season. They're playing very, very well. And they were playing very well under Fickell. But, sometimes these jobs really just call to you and you think, you know what? I just got to take it. I just got to take it. And I bet you he wishes he didn't take this job now, especially seeing how the Bearcats are playing and seeing how the Badgers are playing. They're 2-4 in the season. And right now there are Fire Fickell chants going throughout that Badger Stadium. And I feel for him. I really, really do. Because again, this is a guy that Columbus, Ohio, and Ohio State fans, we love. We adore him. We cherish Luke Fickell, right? We want nothing but the best for him. But dude, now we got to whoop your ass today. And that was going to be tough. It's going to hurt scoring points on him, right? Listen, man, they have already a QB uncertainty because their starting QB is out, right? Knee injury, and now we don't know if he's going to play or if he's not going to play or if his backup is going to play. And again, with just the way this offense is playing, with Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate in this running back room, and this defense with Matt Patricia and Arvell Reese, is looking like a stud and showing more of a more. Why we picked him up out of that transfer portal, why Ohio State was the perfect place for him to come and play football, right? Caleb Downs is Caleb Downs, right? And that front four of this defensive line is just massacring offensive lines and their opposition quarterbacks. So yeah, man, with just the way Ohio State is playing this year, man, this could not come at a worse time for Luke Fickell and his Wisconsin Badgers. Again, I got a lot of love for him. I did a lot of great things for the Ohio State University, and I'll never forget it, and I'll always love him for it. But man, I hate that one of those things is going to be getting your butt stomped on the freaking curb today. Man, it's going to be enjoyable, but I'm going to hate it. It's going to be bittersweet. You know, it's going to be sweet because we're going to get that W, but it's going to be bitter because, again, it's just against a guy that I love, got a lot of history and respect for, and did a lot of great things for the Ohio State University and Buckeye fans worldwide. That is Buckeye Breakfast with me, Arthur Hurst. We're going to take a break. Welcome back to Saturday Morning Tailgate after this.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate here, episode 6. I'm very excited to give you all our top 25s, which, for the second time in 3 weeks, are going to look a tad outdated. Obviously, Florida State 2 weeks ago, that loss to Virginia, we all three had them in our top 10, and it looks like Florida State season
top 25 right now.
You know what? That's a good point. Yeah, Arthur mentions it.
Yeah,
we kind of had this discussion last week. I figure it was worth bringing up about South Carolina. And what South Carolina fans like to say for short when they're cheering on their team. So just thoughts on this whole thing, Arthur, because there is a historical context behind it.
There is. Okay, now we said, okay, you know, when you talk about Gamecocks, right? It looks like whatever freaking. It looks like a rooster, right? Okay, cool. So you think about, okay, now where did cockfighting come from? Because it doesn't sound like something obviously that originated here, right? So where exactly did this thing come from? So again, we did our research, and it's like, okay, so one of the, prolific, very respected generals from Britain, right, was called the Gamecock, right? The Fighting Gamecock. Okay, cool. Perfect. All right, good for you. But then you do more of your history. It goes to, the Southeast Asia and everything. And then they went into Britain and Europe. That makes a lot of sense. I was really, really pulling for South Carolina last week because I had jokes flying. We were coming out of here, man. I did. I was cooking. I was definitely cooking. I was really, really hoping that those Gamecocks were going to take care of them pussycats. You know what I'm saying? But the pussycat definitely looked like a tiger last week and destroy that Gamecock. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing bad about that, man. It gripped. It was a little bit warm, inside and everything. It was definitely wet, and the Tigers, not the Pussycats, the Tigers definitely took care of them Gamecocks, man. It was it was a rough one for the Gamecock, but you bounce back next time. Sometimes that happens, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes as a Gamecock, you go into a little fight with a Pussycat and you think, you know what? I'm dominating today. There ain't no way I'm gonna let this happen. And the Pussycat just lets you know, like, hang on a second, dog. I run this thing today. You know what I'm saying? And then as the Gamecock, you gotta sit back and you know what? They got that one. They definitely did good. The Pussycat got me today. Definitely was a tiger. Definitely clawed. I got a few scratches and of that, but I'm still standing tall. But I definitely got humbled. You know what I'm saying? So, kudos to the LSU Tigers taking down the South Carolina Gamecocks last weekend. It was a fun one. It was a good one.
Tim, go and unmute the mic. What just happened?
I don't know what just happened, and shamefully my mic was still muted, but I was trying to scream, "Do your damn job, Bryson."
Jeez.
You're the host.
I should have cut him off. That's my bad. You know what? Well, thank God we're not on FCC airwaves. That's all I gotta say. Damn, that was crazy.
I'll admit, FCC would probably get away with that because he kept saying "Pussycat" and "Gamecock." We're referencing a team here,
Yeah, we were talking about college. I thought we were talking about a college football game. What is going on? Okay, top 25s, guys. Go and put up Tim's list right here. So, Tim, go ahead and tell me your top 25. What do you got here?
All right, so my top 25 obviously starts with Ohio State. Obviously, it was funny because as I was making this, I'm thinking to myself, as of last night, being like, should I already automatically adjust for Miami? Because at this point they were losing. They hadn't lost yet, but they were losing, and I was like, nope. I gotta stay consistent. Gotta be, on the up and up. They were on a bye week last week, so can't adjust based on Friday night's game. But moving on to, of course, Indiana, they're undefeated, big time win over Oregon. You got Ole Miss, Texas A&M beat Florida. Then I've got Texas Tech coming off their trouncing of Kansas. And then I've got Alabama, of course, squeaking out a victory at Missouri, which is a big time. Oregon, I dropped from obviously 3 to number 8 after their loss versus Indiana. Tennessee, I have up there after their squeak out versus Arkansas. And then to round it off, I got Georgia, who was able to take down Auburn 20-10, even though there were a little shenanigans in that game. So, yeah. Then at number 11, we've got Georgia Tech. Vanderbilt was on a bye. Georgia Tech, meanwhile, is still undefeated at 6-0. Then, of course, I got Oklahoma. I had them drop from 5 to 12 due to their loss against Texas. Missouri, I have at 14 after their loss versus Alabama. Notre Dame, I got a 15 after a nice beatdown of NC State. USC, I have up there after their victory versus Michigan, 31-13. And then LSU, I still don't like LSU, not just because they're our rival, but because I think they're frauds, even because they scored only 20 points. Again, BYU, the Mormons can play, as we constantly say, 6-0. Virginia, after their 30-27 victory in overtime versus Louisville, team that just beat Miami. Then I've got Memphis after they're undefeated, 6-0, 45-7 victory versus Tulsa, excuse me. And then 21-25, Michigan, their loss to USC, I had them drop from 16-21. Cincinnati, I have in there. Navy, Cincinnati's 5-1 after their 20-11 victory over UCF. Navy still undefeated, 32-31 at Temple. And then I added Utah and Nebraska's 24-25. Two teams that are 5-1. Again, just sneaky good teams. And that's the beauty of the top 25 is we can talk about teams like Utah and Nebraska. So, hey, 5-1, can't beat it.
Listen, we talked about how the Miami loss now makes our top 25s outdated. The same case can be said about Nebraska, who got clocked last night by Minnesota. I'm just glad, Tim, that you had Tennessee in the top 10. That as a Vols fan, that made my heart just very warm, and I appreciate.
I gotta be unbiased when I do the show. I gotta be unbiased.
I appreciate. The only segment we want you to be biased is Gator City, and whenever you.
I'm not like that reporter there who just doesn't give a damn about her AP top 25. So, yeah, I actually care.
Respect to you for that. Arthur, what about your top 25, man? What do you got?
So, I mean, come on now. Does anybody else deserve to be at the number one spot besides my Ohio State Buckeyes? Come on, let's not be delusional. Okay, the Ohio State Buckeyes. All right, the real number one team. Okay, the true number one team, the reigning champions. I'm still confused how Texas was number one. I mean, I get it. Arch Manning, blah 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 blah. Last time I checked, they weren't the reigning champions at the beginning of the season, but it's okay. So the real number one team is the Ohio State Buckeyes. Miami, dang man, come on, dog. I had y'all at number two. And then you go and you lay a number two. Like, what's wrong with y'all? So, yeah, sadly, y'all are not going to be number two next week going into this. Number three, Indiana. If they go out and do what they're supposed to do, they might take your spot, replace you. It's not that I'm cheating on you. It's not that. It's just, it's what have you done for me lately? And lately, number two, Miami, number two, and number three, Indiana to get the W. Texas A&M. Hey, listen. I don't know if we're going back to prime time, Johnny Manziel. Hey, College Station is rocking days, but College Station is rocking. I need to get down there for sure and watch me a college football game at some point. I need to be in that atmosphere of the 12th man, and it's just one of those atmospheres that you got to get to. LSU is another one, but I digress. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, the guy who gives us very great coaching memes, quotes, and everything. Listen, when he was on the Pivot podcast talking about Carson Beck, right? I just said, dang, man, you just had to say that. Like, you couldn't say anything good. You couldn't say, you know what, congratulations to him, respect, yada, yada. No, you just said, did they see what he did against us? And it deserved $4 million from Miami. Please. Listen, man, I get it, though. I get it. Hey, when you got a big stick, sometimes you got to swing it. Texas Tech is playing very good football as well. Alabama, I don't know if their lower is back, but you got to give them credit where credit is due. They've definitely bounced back this season. It's looking like they're starting to find their mojo. Let's see what Kalen DeBoer and this team is going to be able to do the rest of the season. Oregon, man, oh man, oh man. Shoot, listen, bro, Dan Lanning, there wasn't enough whatever for you in this game. After those games, post games, I'll be seeing you're really hyped up. You're sweating a lot. I don't know if it's smelling salts or something else you could possibly sniff. But, Oregon, dog, you can't do that. Y'all are supposed to be a national contending team. Y'all were running college football last year. Y'all are running, your conference play and your schedule this year, and then you lay a big one against Indiana. Dang, that's that one. The LSU Tigers, not Pussycats, the Tigers, LSU Tigers. Listen, man, Nussmeier, he's not who we thought he was going to be this season, but he's still playing well, right? And he's playing well enough to get LSU Tigers out of the dumps, out of their slumps, and it's definitely looking like this. LSU is back a little bit. Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart, what you doing? I'm expecting a little bit more from you and your Bulldogs because I've seen what you can do with your talent. I've seen it, but your talent needs to produce. All right, but I'm going to continue giving grace because of what you've done in the past. But what have you done for me lately? Number 11, Tennessee. Hey, Joey Aguilar. Listen, man, keep doing your thing. I hope you do against Alabama so I can knock them out of my top 10 because I'm tired of seeing them up there. They've been up there majority of my life. I'm getting tired of seeing it. Georgia Tech. Listen, man, y'all repping Atlanta very, very well. Okay, I love being in the A. Okay, it's amazing. Food, the spots, right? Great tourism attraction, media capital, especially for African Americans. It's lovely. Georgia Tech has definitely been balling. Oklahoma. You disappointed me. Again, coach, why are we putting our starting quarterback in the red rivalry game when he just got surgery 17 days ago on his throwing hand? Come on, man. We have opposable thumbs for a reason. They help us grip, right? They help us to be able to hold things. He wasn't able to hold that daggone football very well, and he threw 3 interceptions because of it. I'm looking at you, and I'm looking at y'all at number 13. Y'all should be in the top 10, but you're not. Notre Dame, listen, I'm happy for Freeman and the Fighting Irish. They're looking like they're supposed to be. I didn't like how they looked in the beginning of the season. Again, you were in the national championship just last year. That wasn't that far ago. That was in January. Okay, January. So I should say last season. Y'all are just in the national championship this year, the beginning of the year. And y'all been looking like straight trash. Okay, but listen, y'all doing what y'all supposed to do, okay? Y'all representing Jesus well and the Catholic Church. So continue to do that. BYU, the Mormons, hey, listen, y'all represent Jesus a little bit differently, but it's all good. Okay, listen, the BYU, what are they called again? I don't.
They're the Cougars, I think,
remember.
Arthur.
Oh, that's right, the Cougars.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bryson. They are called the BYU Cougars. Again, representing Jesus a little bit differently, but it's all good because, again, them Mormons can play. Not the white boys. The Mormons can definitely play. Missouri, shout out to the Missouri Tigers. Again, it still baffles me that Nick Saban had the audacity to bring up Missouri as a respectable SEC contender. Dog. Listen, I get that you're representing for your old conference that you used to dominate, by the way. But no, but I get it. They're playing well, but no, let's not act like Missouri is no, okay? Vanderbilt, though. Diego Pavia, got respect for you, got love for you, especially more than Bryson does, even though you are definitely still one of his favorite quarterbacks. Joey Aguilar is number one. You're number two right behind Joey Aguilar. So, hey, sometimes that number two spot is perfectly okay. But I got Vanderbilt at number 17. They've had their bumps, just like every single team on this list, but they've been able to get through them and continue to play well. USF, ever since that, Florida win, same thing. Bumps along the road, but they've had plenty of ups. So I'm going to give them that respect. Virginia, man, ever since that Florida State win, they've been doing they've been doing well. And I'm surprised because, listen, I know Virginia has a basketball school, but they're showing, hey, we can play football too. USC, we're trying to get back to our glory days, right? And we're trying to do that in the Big Ten. We're trying to get back to them days of Reggie Bush and winning Heismans and winning games and all that stuff. But, hey, man, it's a slow battle uphill, especially in the Big Ten when you're playing these powerhouse schools. But they're in my top 20. Got to give them that respect. 21, Memphis. Dog, I didn't expect it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even know they had this good of a team to be in my top 25. And, Texas, sure, why not? I expect y'all to be out of this next week.
Fraud.
So, hey, like I said, man, I expect them to be out of this next week. I don't care that y'all won. Y'all got gifted the W on a silver platter. Okay, again, if I knew Mateer was going to play, I would have switched so daggone fast. It's not even funny. Okay, I would have. Utah, we talk about it all the time. Utah is one of those teams that's like the undercover cop. I'm in here. Y'all just don't know. Okay, y'all don't know that I do the dirty work too. I can get down to the dirty. I can get my hands dirty a little bit, and then I'm going to take my talents right back over to here, to the cops. Let them know what's going on. Nebraska, listen, man, the speculation is that Matt Rule wants to leave. Matt Rule saying, no, I'm happy here. Okay, I understand, Penn State, and that job is open, but I'm here with Nebraska. Okay, I'm enjoying myself here. I'm the coach here. I'm not leaving. And then Cincinnati. Again, I talked about it in Buckeyes Breakfast. Luke Fickell should definitely still be there coaching. Why he isn't, so again, those jobs, like a Wisconsin Badger head coaching job, it talks to you, right? But sometimes you need to, tell the devil no. I'm saying here, and Luke Fickell should definitely still be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats. But I love how the Bearcats are right now still continuing to build on what he started. So that's my top 25.
That's fair. I will say, just to clarify for the audience, I am no fan of Diego Pavia. That is a false accusation by Arthur Hurst. Heck with Vanderbilt. Like I'll say it a million times in the show. Diego Pavia.
You love Diego Pavia. Stop.
He loves him some Diego Pavia.
Nah.
When he sees that, man, when he sees that quarterback on the field, he'd be like,
Pavia jersey underneath his Vols sweater.
Oh yeah, you already know. Yeah, gray is the Vanderbilt colors. You already know what it is. And listen, November 30th. I say it every week on the show. Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt, y'all got something coming for y'all in Neyland Stadium. Let me tell you something right now. Okay, Tim. How have y'all fared at Neyland Stadium the last two times? Let's just keep it a buck. All right, it's one of the hardest places to go play in college football. I'll talk about the ball view in just a minute. I'll go and pull up my top 25. Ohio State is the clear number one. There's no questions about it. Listen, me and Arthur talked about it yesterday. on carving it up. I want to see them open up the offense a little bit more for Julian Sand, kind of build his confidence moving forward. But this is clearly the best team, both sides of the ball in college football. I had Indiana number 2. I'm blown away by how Curt Cignetti has changed this program. Obviously, the win last week against Oregon, getting exceptional play at the quarterback position. I have Miami at 3. That doesn't look the best today after that loss to Louisville. Carson Beck with the 4 picks, just brutal. Ole Miss at number 4, big game. Can't wait to predict it with the guys later in the show against Georgia. We'll see if Kyron Lacey continue to dominate against this, against this Georgia Bulldogs, running defense. Very excited to, to see that. Also going to talk about Alabama at number 5 facing the likes of which I apologize. I said Kyron Lacey. I apologize. That's the young man who lost his life in LSU. I apologize for that. Lacey is the running back for Ole Miss. Alabama, though, at number 5. Listen, Ty Simpson has played outstanding football, Heisman level football, 16-1 in terms of touchdown to interception ratio. That scares me a little bit against Tennessee's defensive backs. A&M at 6. They took care of business against Tim's Gators last week. Excellent football team. Oregon at number 7. I still think they're a national championship contender. I love what I've seen from Dan Lanning's squad. Georgia at 8. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not blown away by what I've seen from the Dogs last week. They were a fumble at the goal line away from being down 17-0 to Auburn. And as Tim sort of brought up earlier, the weird no timeout call from Kirby Smart was odd at best. Definitely gave Georgia the benefit of the doubt in that call. My Vols at number 9. Listen, third Saturday in October. Going to talk about that in a few minutes against Alabama. Very excited for that one. Listen, I am concerned about this defense giving up 29 points per game. The offense, on the other hand, is scoring 48 points per game, which leads college football. Texas Tech is playing great ball as well. They're at number 10. I've got LSU just outside my top 10 at number 11. Speaking of, teams that can't get one side of the ball right, LSU, if you take out their game against Southeast Louisiana, in which they scored 56 points, they have yet to score over 24 points this season. Garrett Nussmeier, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks, hasn't played his best ball. Georgia Tech's undefeated. They avoided a scare, recently against Wake Forest. We'll see if they can continue to compete and get to the ACC title game in Charlotte. Oklahoma drops to my number 13 spot. We talked about it earlier, but what the heck is John Mateer doing playing this football game? Oklahoma drops it to number 13. Still an excellent team. Still got plenty of football ahead of them. Notre Dame's gotten back on track at number 14. They got a huge game tonight against USC. Very, very excited, for that matchup. BYU at number 15. Listen, we say it all the time. The Mormons can indeed play football. Got an opportunity to win the Big 12 this season. Virginia's played great after they lost early on to NC State, but that win against Florida State has really kind of propelled them into being an excellent football team. Missouri, the loss last week to Bama, 100% with Arthur. Nick Saban talking about this as one of the elite teams, one of the contenders in the SEC. Get out of here. No chance whatsoever. Vanderbilt at number 18. Yeah. Memphis at number 19. Listen, I picked Memphis as my 12 seed in the college football playoff before the year started. And I'm just saying right now, I feel like I'm calling out ESPN. We have got to get Memphis versus USF at College Game Day next week. That is a gigantic game in the American Conference. USF at number 20. Cannot wait to see that matchup next week. And to round out my top 25, listen, I give Texas benefit of the doubt. They're at number 21. I liked what I saw from Arch Manning against an excellent Oklahoma defense. Hopefully it continues to develop. Oklahoma's defense is solid as well. Cincinnati's playing good football in the Big Ten. I like the comparison Arthur makes, Utah to the undercover cop. They're always hanging around, as we say down here in the South, like a hair in a biscuit. They're just, Utah's always there. Utah's always, in the picture. Nebraska at 24, they're not going to be in the top 25 next week after that blowout loss to Minnesota. And the Washington Huskies, let me tell you something right now. They've got a young quarterback who's really, really talented, really, really good. Watch out for Washington to be kind of a sleeper to make some noise in the Big Ten. So that is my top 25. I think I saw Tim kind of reacting to my hair in a biscuit comment. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Hair on a biscuit.
It's southern, southern analogy, Tim. That's what we do.
It's always hanging around like
it's like a hair in a biscuit. Do you have anything? I'm just putting you on the spot. Is there anything in the Northeast and in Boston that y'all just got thrown around? Not like that. Okay. Arthur, any comments before the ball view?
I'm over it. Listen, dude, at some point in time, as I get older, I'm going to have, those quirky sayings and all that stuff that I know I'll be able to just pull out of my ass. I get it. But that one, if the hair is on my biscuit, I'm throwing it away.
That's what I'm saying. It makes
It's
sense.
always lurking though. It's always hanging around. Like
No, please don't. I'm going
I'm
back
saying you eat
to
it. That's the point.
I'm going back to the wherever I got it from and saying, what the heck is this? And then I'm going back to the kitchen to find whose hair it is. The last time I'm checked, y'all daggone hair is supposed to be in nets. So how the hell did that hair end up on my freaking biscuit? Okay, I got it nice hoodied up and stuff like that. I'm about to eat it, and then all of a sudden I see this little thing on it. No, it isn't supposed to be this way. Okay, now I got to throw out this good old biscuit because y'all want to be freaking no.
He froze. He froze. That's a good time for it to happen. Listen, it is.
Freeze. I muted and stopped talking.
No, you just froze. You're good. You're good.
Oh, I did for real?
Yeah, you did.
Cool.
It is what it is. It is what it is. All right, away from hairs on biscuits, let's talk about college football, man. That's what we're here to do. It is now time for the Vol View with yours truly, Bryson Carver. And let's just keep it a buck, folks. This is as big of a rivalry as there is for the Tennessee Volunteers. It is quite simply the third Saturday in October. Tennessee, Alabama, with an opportunity to really put themselves in a great position to compete for the SEC title in 2025. Alabama's a 7.5-point favorite on the road. We'll obviously predict that game as a group later in the show. Listen, the keys to a Tennessee victory. They have not won in Tuscaloosa since I was 4 months old, since October 2003. It's been a minute for the Tennessee Vols to get a win at Bryant-Denny Stadium. They've come close, 2009. Obviously the blocked field goal, that was Lane Kiffin's first and only season at Tennessee. Derrick Henry running in the but game-winning touchdown back in 2015. There's been some heartbreaking losses for Tennessee and Tuscaloosa. Had a double-digit lead in 2023, with Joe Milton. Lost that game in Tuscaloosa as well. But the last 3 years, the Big Orange have come out on top after a 15-game losing streak overall to the Tide. So keys to victory for Tennessee. Everything in this football game from an offensive standpoint for the Vols, as I've said all year, starts with the run game. It starts with Deshaun Bishop. It starts with Star Thomas. It starts with the ability to set the line of scrimmage. Therefore, Alabama has to account for the run. Then Joey Aguilar can make his magic, throwing over the top to Chris Brazzell, to Mike Matthews, to Braylon Staley. By the way, Joey Aguilar, we talk about Tennessee. I mentioned in my top 25, Tennessee, first in the nation in scoring, 48 points per game. How about this? Joey Aguilar, first in the conference, first in the SEC in passing yards. Deshaun Bishop, fifth in the SEC in terms of rushing yards. Chris Brazzell, second in the SEC in receiving yards. And by the way, Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews, also in the top 10 in receiving yards. So this is an offense that can beat you every which way. I think Josh Heupel's going to try and establish the run early, try and play. Certainly Tennessee plays a tempo type of offense. There's not much space between plays at all. But a situation where, okay, we get ourselves in the 2nd and 5, 3rd and short. Okay, Bama's guessing. Now we've got a lot of freedom in terms of what we can do for our offense. Hit the big play down the field. My biggest question, my biggest concern for this game, man, is this Tennessee defense. Is the fact, forget that we're facing Ty Simpson. Forget the fact that we are facing a real legit, 1-2 punch at wide receiver, Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams at wide receiver. It's the fact that against those guys, our top 2 corners are out yet again due to injury. Ricky Gibson III and Jermon McCoy, who absolutely should be a first-round pick in the draft. Kid is an unbelievable talent. He just needs to get on the field and be healthy. Joshua Josephs is the X factor for Tennessee on this defense. Joshua Josephs, Aaron Carter led Tennessee in tackles last year. He's a captain for this game. He's got to be able to stop the run. And for Joshua Josephs, can you get to the quarterback on a consistent basis? Colton Hood, defensive touchdown for you against Mississippi State. Joshua Joseph, it's the same thing. Can these guys be able to force turnovers? Because the fact of the matter is, they're in many ways, I hate to bring this team up on this show because it'll make me pissed off for the rest of the way, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, living off of turnovers and sacks, can't really stop you straight up. Not going to force a 3 and out. That's kind of been the story for Tennessee, giving up 29 points per game. Can you establish the run and hit the over-the-top pass? And can you be able to make Ty Simpson's life uncomfortable? Because if you give him time to throw, he is going to use the name of my show, carve you up. So I'm not going to lie. Coming into this week, a little nervous based on the matchup from their offense against our defense. But then I remembered, oh, wait, Tennessee has literally the best offense in college football. So I feel good about it. Predict this game at the end of the show. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of suspense on where I'm going for this game. But 3rd Saturday in October, Tennessee, Bama. Let's go and win this game, Vols. Put ourselves in position to compete for the SEC. I said the last few weeks after that loss to Georgia, the 3 toughest games for Tennessee the rest of the way: Bama, Oklahoma, and with respect to Vanderbilt, no respect to Vanderbilt, it's Florida. Winning at the Swamp, which Tennessee has not done in over 2 decades. If you can go 2-1 in those games and sweep the rest of the games you're supposed to, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, New Mexico, you get in the college football playoff at 10-2. Let's start 1-0 in that stretch. Tennessee, Bama, cannot wait. Third Saturday in October. Very, very excited. That is it for this week's edition of the Vol View. Take a 1-minute break here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate and come back with our cover crew. We're going to try and win you guys some money. Very excited right after the break here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate, episode 6, live here on the Grid Network. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by the show to kick off your college football Saturday. So, the Cover Crew, it's a segment we do each and every week. We're trying to win you guys money here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. This is a first. Tim, yours already basically happened. North Carolina Cal, what did you have here?
Well, I kind of gave you 2 because of this. I picked the game last night. I was looking at it going, Cal, North Carolina, 7.5 points for Cal. Like, that was going to be a no-brainer. The way Belichick has run that friggin' team and everything that's going on from there. When I picked it before the game, but I forgot. I didn't realize it the minute I did it that it was on Friday night, which isn't going to help us in this case. So, yes, even though Cal did get the win, it was not by 7.5. So, obviously, I lost. But I have another game that I picked. And, Bryson, do you have that?
I do not have the graphic, no.
I gave you the graphic.
I know. You know, this is your original pick. You don't get 2, darn it.
I got a second one because I picked the Friday night game. How's that? You know,
that's fair. You tell the audience that look. Let's win some money. Let's win some money.
All right. So this game, the real game that I picked, because obviously Friday night game isn't going to help you. The game that I picked was Mississippi State money line over my Gators.
Wow. So wait a minute. So Tim, in theory, bet against the former coach of his dynastic Patriots and then against his beloved Florida Gators. That is, wow, you are cold-blooded, sir.
Again, I am nothing if not fair. You know, I try to be unbiased on certain segments of the show. But this is one of those situations where, again, everyone talks about everyone's rallying behind Billy Napier, you know, that Billy Napier has not lost the locker room, which I don't necessarily disagree with. But the writing's been on the wall for weeks. And especially after that USF loss, it has been right there, like to the point where on Monday of this week, they were talking about this being it. Like, regardless of what happens, win or lose on today, Billy Napier could be gone by tomorrow. So why even bother? And not for nothing, Mississippi State has played the SEC pretty damn hard. They're 4-0 right now. You know, Bryson, you know this way. Bryson, you know better than any of us. And yeah, it was at Mississippi State. But again, I'm looking at it going, our team, the Gators, are ultra talented. I will love the Gators through and through. But if I'm trying to win money at plus 290 money line, give me the Bulldogs.
Wow. To win in the swamp. And I'm curious. I'm curious to hear more what you have to say on Gator City in just a few minutes. Arthur, your cover crew pick. I apologize, Tim. I do have a graphic for Arthur and for myself. Arthur, you're picking this spot?
Yeah, man. Listen, Ole Miss has been balling, right? And I trust Lane Kiffin to get it done. The Bulldogs, man, we're talking about, again, the lower of these big schools, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't look the same, dude. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know if it's the talent. I don't trust it. It doesn't, again, dude, it just doesn't look right to me. Like, I've grown up watching this in the last few years and stuff like that, and I'm just looking at Corby Smart like, yo, like, what's going on? You don't look like you. Your team doesn't look like the Bulldogs. It doesn't look like them dogs. It looks like, we're living off of, the past, and, we've got this team. We're hoping to make the most of it. Lane Kiffin, though, on the other hand, is saying, we coming in here and kicking butt and taking names. So are you going to stand up and fight, or are you just going to lay down? Because either way, we're going to make sure we come out with the W. So I'm going to have to trust Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels to win this game. But before we continue, I was really hoping North Carolina would win, dog. I was really hoping they would win. I really was, dude. North Carolina was going to win that game, and then I was, that hurt. That hurt to watch, man.
Listen, I don't even think I can say hater. I think just Belichick, truth teller number one. I have been an anti-Bill guy for years, so I hope North Carolina goes 2-10 the rest of the year. It has nothing to do with the Targals. I got nothing against. I got friends who are North Carolina fans. Nothing against them. I hope Bill Belichick goes 2-10. They buy him out. Get him out of here. Anyways, Arthur, you're gonna like this pick. Cover crew pick. I got your Buckeyes minus 25.5. I know it's a big line, but at Wisconsin, Badgers not been playing good football. I think this is the game that Ryan Day says we're going to open it up for Julian Sand to kind of take over as the true leader of this team, true leader of this offense. Jeremiah Smith's going to have a big game. Love Ohio State minus 25.5 against Wisconsin. Okay, I think we have fixed it. I hope I'm right.
Get the white screen again.
Here, fingers crossed we do not get the right screen, Tim. It is now time, hold your breath, folks, for Gator City with Tim Barnard. Tim, take it away.
Hey, look at that. No white screen. Beautiful. Perfect. Nice job, Bryson. There you go. At least you got one thing right. No, but
chill there, Tim.
Yeah. So the Florida Gators, as I just mentioned, Billy Napier has been on the hot seat for an extremely long period of time. And to the point where earlier this week, it's been discussed that this is going to be his final game no matter what, that by Sunday, he's going to be out of here. I don't know what's going on in the locker room. I'm just going to be upfront with you. I don't know what's going on in the locker room. I don't know if the team is rallying behind him, saying that this is going to be a perfect game for him, or a time to really show the rest of the program kind of, hey, we can go out and win. We can go and get these final games going. I mean, we're currently 2-4. Right, we still have another 6 games left on the schedule. Can they go and run the table and be 6-0? Based on the talent, yeah, they can. But the problem is Billy Napier is not the guy. You even saw in the game last week, DJ Lagway going, what are we doing? What are we calling? Because even he is kind of sick and tired of the dink and dunks and, Billy just not reading the situation right, not reading the game right. I mean, he's overall 21-23, and USA Today was told that influential boosters told Scott Strickland that, quote, continuing financial support depends on new direction within the football program. And I don't disagree with that. I'm sorry. I like Billy Napier. I think he's a really good guy. He's a hell of a recruiter, clearly, because he brought this immense talent. How many teams have we played, LSU, Miami, where they are looking at our roster going, damn, they are an extremely talented team. One of the most talented teams will play all season. And that's true. That's exactly what we are. And if we were to fire Billy Napier tomorrow, we would owe him $21.2 million over the course of until 2029. It would be $10.2 million owed by November 19th, and then $2.65 million owed January 15th of every year in 26, 7, 8, and 9. So it's not a terrible buyout, like you're probably looking at James Franklin or down the road if Curt Cignetti gets fired from Indiana. But it's a situation that I think we just need to bite the bullet. And the funny part is, going through some news stories about it, the NCAA has changed the transfer portal for programs that have hired and fired coaches, because the NCAA has adjusted the portal window for when a new head coach is hired starts 5 days. So the transfer portal opens for when a new head coach is hired 5 days after that head coach is fired, provided this occurs between January 2nd and June 30th. So, for example, if a college football program hires a new head coach on November 25th, the portal would not open until January 2nd. But if a program makes a coaching change in the spring and hires a new head coach, players will not have to wait as long as the hire is made before June 30th. So in other words, if we were to fire Billy Napier right now, there is a 15, instead of it being a 30-day window immediately for players to jump into the transfer portal, which happens all the time, there is now going to be a 15-day window for those players to go, and it's going to be 5 days after the head coach is fired. That's when the portal opens, and it's not going to start until January 2nd. With that being the case, that is massive, because for Florida, if they were to fire Billy Napier now and this were to happen, and then the new head coach who gets hired can then talk to the players and give them, hey, I really want you here. I think you're going to help us out. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm going to scheme. This is all the momentum that we have. You guys are a great team or great players, but I am going to make you a great team. I think we all know for a fact Billy Napier is not going to get another head coaching job, and if he does, it's going to be at such a lower tier school, it's not going to be funny. So we're not going to have to worry about players transferring to where he goes. The thing is, we need to maintain as many of our players as possible. The guy we need to bring in is somebody who can work with DJ Lagway, work with the receiving core that we have with Dallas Wilson, who's an absolute stud of a true freshman. The guy's playing like he's been playing in D1 for the last 3 years. Like, he is that good already. Vernell Brown III is an absolute playmaker on the outside. And our offensive line is a very good old line. Jaden Baugh running all over people. He's just not been given an opportunity. When you give him an opportunity, he averages 4 or 5 yards a carry and is going to rush for 100 yards and multiple touchdowns. So that's why I think this is massive. The fact that the NCAA has changed the transfer portal when coaches are fired and hired is huge. And that, as a Florida fan, makes me excited, not because we're going to have to fire Billy Napier, we're going to have to go out and get somebody, whoever that may be. And I'll talk about that next week, some coaching hires. Even if Billy Napier is still on the team next week, I will still talk about who the Gators should go after. But if our new head coach can come in and actually talk with this team, instead of guys just being like, all right, hey, I'm out of here, peace, like, I don't want to have to deal with this, that is going to be huge. And I think it's something that college football desperately needs. The beauty of college football back before the whole NIL era, even before the playoff era, was the fact that, for the most part, obviously plenty of players got the bag that we all know, and that there was always a coach on staff that was more of the money guy who would always take the fall. He wasn't a coach; he was more the money guy. But a lot of the players wanted to play for their school. You still see all the old players repping their school with pride. Win, lose, or draw. They will always rep their school with pride, myself included. I will always rep the University of Florida with pride. Just because I might pick against them or this, that, and the other for this program does not mean I am not a Florida guy through and through. I always want Florida to be in the top 25, top 10, top 5, number 1. But I'm also a very realistic person. And what I see on the screen is god-awful. With all this talent in the world, we can't take advantage of it. To me, this needs to happen regardless of the outcome today. And as long as we can bring in somebody who's young, fresh, kind of like what I said with Penn State, who's fresh, and hell, maybe even a guy that is experienced at winning. Everyone wants to talk about Lane Kiffin. I think that would be great. I don't see it happening, but go out and make a big splash or get the next up-and-comer. There's something to be said about that. And keeping DJ Lagway, which we all know how he's played, but keeping him, keeping the receivers, keeping a majority of the team and making sure that they don't get to that transfer portal, I think it would be very interesting to see this team with a different head coach next season and how much we've improved. So that's it for Gator City. Thank you, guys. And we are going to come back with our game day picks right after this short break. Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast live here on the Grid Network, and it's always our favorite segment of the show. We are making our game day picks, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get right to it. You've got a big matchup in the ACC. You got the Georgia Tech. You got Georgia Tech taking on Duke. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
Georgia Tech, undefeated going into this game. Come on, Georgia Tech's going to trounce Duke.
Wow. What about you, Arthur?
Georgia Tech.
I've got Duke. Duke's favored to win this game. I think Duke's been playing solid football this year. Sneaky player in the ACC. I'm going to go with the Blue Devils to get the almost the upset win. It wouldn't be an upset win. They're actually favored to win the game. So I've got Duke in this big matchup. Out to the Big 12 now. You got a matchup featuring the Houston Cougars taking on Arizona. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
I think this is going to be a good game, though. I got Houston.
Okay. What about you, Arthur?
I got to go with H-Town, baby.
Same here. This is clean sweep. Houston gets the W. I'll tell you, I can't. This is one of my favorite matchups of college football today. Big Ten, Michigan, Washington. Who do you got, Tim?
After their performance last week, I'm really doubting Michigan in terms of being a contender. I think down the road, Bryce Underwood's going to really show off and explode. The only thing is, though, when it comes to Michigan, is the fact that they won. After they lost, they absolutely trounced Central Michigan. When they lost to Oklahoma, they came back next week and trounced Central Michigan. So With that, I think I'm going Michigan.
Okay.
Lost last week, and I think they're going to get the win.
Gonna win the big house. What about you, Arthur?
I'm gonna go with Washington.
Wow. Okay, Washington. I've also got the Huskies. Listen, there's a name that people need to learn in college football very quickly. Damon Williams Jr. As good of a dual threat. I mean, Arthur, you guys faced him, a few weeks ago. You're talking about a dual threat guy in the Big Ten who can make plays, arm and legs. I think gets the upset win in the big house today. Next matchup, Oklahoma, South Carolina. Two teams that we have ripped for very different reasons today. What about you? Who do you got in this one, Tim?
I wanted to go with South Carolina so badly. But
Come on.
All right.
Come on.
All right. I went with Oklahoma.
Yeah, you went with Oklahoma. You're forgiving, you're forgiving John Mateer and you're forgiving Brent Venables. What about you, Arthur?
I'm pretty sure they're gonna, mess around and do that same stupid crap that they did last week and play John Mateer. So I'm definitely going South Carolina.
Okay, upset for Arthur. I've got Oklahoma. Listen, I think they're going to try and establish the run game more. The game is at South Carolina, so that is a little bit concerning. That's a tough place to go win, Williams-Brice Stadium. I still have nightmares from Tennessee's matchup in 2022, which pretty much ended our season, but I've got the Sooners winning this one. Next matchup, you've got Texas A&M taking on Arkansas on the road. Arkansas put a scare in Tennessee. They put a scare in Memphis. They put a scare in Ole Miss. This feels like a backhanded compliment. This is the best 2-4 team in college football. Again, it's not a title you really want to have, but who do you got in this matchup, Tim?
I got A&M. The difference between A&M and Tennessee is A&M is a complete team, and the way they just beat the Gators last week, they're going to do that to Arkansas. It's not going to be close.
Tim, watch yourself. Arthur, who do you got in this game?
Oh, real quick, my fault. So you think that even with, because I believe it, John Mateer is playing today. So you think that Oklahoma is really going to win this game?
I mean, I think Texas is better than South Carolina, so yes.
You mean Oklahoma?
South Carolina.
Dog, whatever, dog. I mean, my 3 interceptions. Anyways, in this game, I'm going to have to go with College Station.
Okay. Texas A&M. I've also got A&M in this matchup. I do think Arkansas makes it a little interesting. Like, again, turnovers have killed this team. Fumble late against Ole Miss. Fumble late against Memphis. By the way, they held a big lead at Memphis. And then 3 turnovers against my Vols, which really kind of saved us in that spot because our defense struggled to get a stop in that game. But I do have Texas A&M winning this matchup. Texas Tech taking on Arizona State. Arizona State was my darling to win the Big 12 again. That looks to be kind of slipping away. Who do you got in this matchup, Tim?
Yeah, I got Tech. I absolutely ripped them for their new logo. Their new logo sucks.
It's awful.
It's horrendous. Again, paying millions of dollars to get rid of the outline. Again, this is the problem with modern society is there's a difference between throwbacks and something that actually looks good. Their new logo sucks, but I am taking Tech over Arizona State.
Yeah, I'm gonna hate next year on Saturday Morning Tailgate putting whatever that is on this lower third. It's terrible. What about
they need to refund all that money? That is trash.
It's horrible. All the great graphic designers we have in America. Yes, it's terrible. Who do you got, Arthur?
Texas Tech.
I also have Texas Tech. Winning this game over Arizona State. I hope it's close. Again, I'm kind of pulling for Arizona State because I think Dillingham's done a great job there. But I've got the Red Raiders in this one. I went back and forth on this one. I'm not going to lie. Missouri at Auburn. Tim, who do you have?
Did we even talk about that? Yeah, we did. I went with Mizzou. I think the way they played Alabama, I think was just, was really good. I think Mizzou is a very good team this year. And, when it comes to Auburn, whatever happened with Georgia last week happened. Auburn got cheated, clearly. The refs were clearly in favor of Georgia. What else is new? Just like Kansas City, same thing. Give me two.
Dang, refs just catching strays from Tim Barnard.
Refs deserve to be in jail when they screw up as early as they did. Honest to God.
They deserve to be fined. I'll give you that.
No. They deserve to be in jail.
He said jail. He said nah.
They're trying to throw people in prison.
Prison.
Yeah, when you're that bad at refereeing, absolutely.
Jeez, I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't know you in 2022 because I was a ref and I missed a couple calls in my day. I'm glad you didn't lock me up, Tim.
Well, no. You're a ref at a lower level. I'm talking about when you're in the NFL,
okay.
Top tier college football. The problem. Sorry to go off the rail.
No, go ahead.
The problem is with referees is yes, part of it is the fact that it's not full time, which we all agree it should be.
Sure,
but the fact is, you have so many refs that are nepotism, kids of refs, and they become refs. And not to mention the fact too that why can't they be fined? Why can't they be punished immediately? And it all falls on the coaches. It all falls on the players. They're the ones that suffer royally for bad calls, for bad situations, and yet, God forbid, in the post game, you say, we got screwed. It's like, it's mind-blowing. And the fact that people were mad at Auburn's AD for screaming at the referee running into the locker room. No, the Auburn athletic director was absolutely in his right, because I guarantee you what the Auburn AD was saying to the ref, the Auburn fans would have said 1,000 times worse if they were in his shoes in that situation. So, no, it is bull that the refs, they're not going to be in the playoffs. That's their punishment. Screw that. No, you deserve to be fired, tried, and in jail for making horrendous calls.
Dang, that's great. I mean, listen, my mindset with refs has always been, if you needed a call to help you win the game, then that's on you. It's kind of like, we're getting off the rails, but I just to give this analogy, but like when the New Orleans Saints got screwed over in the NFC Championship game on the missed pass interference call, they put themselves in that spot. They had an opportunity to bleed the clock down to almost nothing, and they kept throwing the ball. So you put yourself in that spot for the ref to make the call, not taking any accountability from the ref for missing that.
And I don't disagree with that mindset. I really do. I understand that certain things have to play into it where, again, we all blame the kicker for missing the game-winning kick, whereas had certain plays earlier in the game gone their way or they did it differently, yes, they wouldn't be in that situation. I get it. But at the end of the day, it is atrocious how awful the refereeing has become. And that's why it's gotten kind of frustrating that all the blame goes to them, the coaches and the players. And God forbid they say something about the poor officiating, they get fined $500,000.
I don't think you should not get fined for criticizing officials. If I'm 100% with you in that regard. Arthur, we got off the rails here. Missouri and Auburn. Who do you got in this one?
I got Missouri, but real quick, I just want to say this. Y'all remember that one courtroom scene in The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
Yes. That's where my mind instantly goes to when we talking about trying to put referees in jail. Just having these fans, just having these fans in the courtroom supporting, and just got somebody up there on the stand that got no business being up there, and just bringing a zebra in and being like, hey, you are being tried for this, that, and the third. What do the people say? Oh, okay, so you got to go out in the ice.
Listen, we need somebody, one of y'all meme experts, to turn that into a meme, because that would actually be kind of amazing. Just put like a ref onto that's great. I almost picked Auburn because as bad as the officiating was, if not for a goal line fumble, they're up 17-0 on Georgia, and they probably win that game because Georgia doesn't have a very explosive offense, evidently, except against Tennessee. But I've got Missouri winning this game. Listen, they did compete with Alabama. They were able to, to make that one close, but I've got Mizzou winning this one. Good one in Nashville. LSU taking on Vanderbilt in this one. Who do you got, Tim?
Give me Vanderbilt. Give me the upset. I cannot stand LSU until Garrett Nussmeier can throw for 5 touchdowns and actually score against a good team. I'm not going to take them seriously. And I still don't take them seriously. So give me Vanderbilt. Give me the upset. Come on, Diego. Live up to the hype, kid.
Arthur, are you going to agree with this nonsense?
Hell yeah, I'm taking Vanderbilt. Come on now. Anchor down, baby. Anchor down.
Go LSU. That's I know their offense stinks, and it's going to be a close game. I'm going like 24-21 because LSU's offense does stink, but their defense is excellent, and Diego Pavia is going to.
And Whit Weeks is out, by the way.
Oh, okay, that's
their
big.
Star linebacker is out.
That's big, but still give me the Tigers. I don't care. Give me the Tigers. Okay, big one in the Big 12. Utah, BYU. I'm excited to watch this one tonight. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
I think it's going to be a fun one. The fact that it's, Battle of Utah, basically. You got the Mormons versus the normal people.
Apologies to the Mormons out there. Damn, Tim. Jeez.
What? We say go Mormon or not? The Mormons can play all the time.
They can play, but whatever. Go ahead. Make a pick, dang it.
I picked Utah to win this game.
Of course, because you called them normal people. That's why you picked them. Gosh darn it. Arthur, you go with the Mormons or Utah?
Hey, man, I love me a good Cougar, so I'm going to have to go to BYU.
Oh, my gosh. This is a disaster. What is happening? The show. Give me the Utes. Oh, my Lord. Oh, yeah.
Well, I picked Houston.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, USC Notre Dame. Who do you got, Tim?
Give me the Fighting Irish. Come on now.
Of course. Arthur, who do you have?
I don't need them, but I'm going with the Trojans.
Okay. That's help me, Jesus. Give me Notre Dame. I'm a terrible moderator. This show's gone off the rails. I'm going Notre Dame in this matchup. I think they need to get a big time ranked win to put on the resume. Give me the Fighting Irish. Two massive games in the SEC, and we'll start with the first one: Ole Miss and Georgia. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
I'm picking Ole Miss because I want them to win, and because I keep saying time and time again that this Georgia team is not the same of old, and the fact that Georgia needed all that help last week against Auburn. Give me Ole Miss.
Arthur?
Got to go with Ole Miss.
I've got Ole Miss in this matchup too. I think Lacey's going to run the football effectively, and I again, it's tough to go win at Georgia. Bama's done it this year. I think Ole Miss is better than Bama. Establish a good running game. Rebels are playing great football this year. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. And finally, come on, guys, let's get a clean sweep. Although, is a clean sweep bad? Because we had a clean sweep for Tennessee, Georgia, and that didn't work out so well. So maybe I should be nervous for this. But third Saturday, October, Tennessee, Alabama, two teams that, Tim, I know you have just nothing but love and admiration for. So who are you picking here?
Give me Tennessee.
Hell yeah. Arthur, please do it.
Tennessee.
Let's freaking go. So, of course, we've got a clean sweep. Go Big Orange. Let's end the streak in Tuscaloosa. Go Vols, baby. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Guys, great job. Thank you for being loyal to the Big Orange. Arthur, I know you're pretty much an impartial observer. You don't have any hate for the Vols. You don't have any love for them. You do like Joey Aguilar. You're the second biggest Joey Aguilar fan at the Grid Network. And Tim, I know that that's you bleed orange and white. That is something that we know. What's that?
What do I bleed?
Orange and white.
That gaudy orange? Get out of here.
Oh, stop it. It's the best orange in college football. Clemson, Syracuse, Texas. Get that out of here. Tennessee's the best orange in college football by far.
Syracuse is the orange men. Come on.
So, their orange is terrible.
The best orange you have. Not only, we have the real orange, by the way.
Oh, stop. You're blue.
Yeah. Do you not see the sleeves there? It's
mostly blue,
stripes.
Tim.
It's orange and blue. The real orange.
It's blue and
You're
orange.
a gaudy orange. Get out of here.
Jeez, this is ridiculous. Hey, even when you picked Tennessee, you can't even give us love for our own gosh darn colors. All right, that is all the time for the show. Had a blast, guys. I'm not gonna lie, this is a good show. We'll be back next week, Saturday Morning Tailgate, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time, live here on the Grid Network to preview all the biggest matchups in college football, giving you all the previews for all the big games. Very, very excited for that. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy a great week 8 of college football. See you soon. See you next week. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out.
Us.